Hello, tonight we devote the South Bank show to a film about the Royal Shakespeare Company. It's not, as you might expect, about their work in Stratford or London, or even in Newcastle, where they have an annual season. It's about their activities at Oldham and Dewsbury, in Paisley and Milton Keynes, because it was in these towns, and others like them, that some of the RSC's best work last year was to be seen. From July to October, their small-scale touring company visited 23 places around Britain. Touring has a long tradition in the theatre. Travelling players have been a feature in England from before Shakespeare, and this century there have been a number of famous touring companies. Sir Donald Wolfett's before the war, and that of Sybil Thorndike and Lewis Casson to the Welsh miners. But in recent years, touring has become less and less easy for the big theatre companies. Taking large productions around the country is expensive, and it's often unsatisfactory for both company and audience. The RSC gave up touring to the big city theatre centres, the Nightmare Grand Tour as it's been called, 3 or 4 years ago. Recently, though, there's been a development which has helped to make a worthwhile tour possible. The Royal Shakespeare have been producing small-scale productions, often of high quality, in their workshop theatres, the Other Place at Stratford and the Warehouse in London. Trevor Nunn's Macbeth with Ian McKellen and Judi Dench, recently seen on ITV, was an example of just such a production. And these could be taken round the far reaches of the island, because they had small casts and no scenery. And so, with a subsidy from the Arts Council's Touring Fund and a grant from Hallmark Cards, the RSC set off on a tour under the general administration of Ian McKellen. Andrew Snell wanted to make a film about these new Shakespearean travelling players. This tour by the Royal Shakespeare Company has been a particularly important one. It's not usual for a large national theatre company to be seen in the outer areas of Britain, from Cornwall here, through East Anglia to Scotland. It's even less common for them to be taking specially mounted productions on their own stage, and they've not confined themselves to theatres.
My lady is a cat off. We are politicians. Malvolio, we say, the knight's in admirable fooling. Aye, he does well enough if he be so discreet. So do I, too. He does it with a better grace, but I do it more natural.
It's 10:30 a.m. on a Friday in early October. The badminton hall in the Carnbury Leisure Centre at Redruth. The company prepares for a workshop.
I'm Ian McKellen, and I'm an actor, and I'll be playing Toby Belch this afternoon. Oh, just first, let's get it straight. Are you anybody not coming to Twelfth Night this afternoon? Now, why is that? Are you coming? Did you see it last night?
We went last night.
No tickets. Well, the rest of you are coming to say, I play Toby Belch. This is...
Edward Petherbridge and I play Orsino.
McKellen knows Petherbridge well. They were together in the Actors' Company along with Emily Richard, so they're used to touring. The company arrived the day before, set up their stage, and in the evening put on Twelfth Night. They're still recovering from a late-night reception.
Look, before we get started, let me just point out what's probably obvious to you, that there are strangers in our midst who are from London Weekend Television, and they're making a programme about the tour which we are currently on, which has involved us arriving here in... I have to think where we are.
This place, the very...
Cambrai Leisure Centre, yes. Cambrai.
Several years ago, we used to run an organisation called Theatre Garant, which was a pioneering organisation, which started theatre and education work pretty well, certainly on any national scale. It was performing on average 14 performances a week, and it played in 150 different towns and cities and villages up and down the land. Now, it did recognise that work in education and work in clearly deprived areas had dropped out of our output, and if we could do something like that again, then we would have a very well balanced annual output, and nobody could accuse us of skimping on our responsibilities. Now, a job is not worth doing unless one can guarantee that one can do it well, and it was absolutely vital that I found somebody who could run such an operation, at which point to enter or re-enter Ian McKellen. There was somebody with an extraordinary track record of work in the regions in previous years. Somebody who was quite clearly capable of running something, and somebody who had a declared interest in small theatre operations.
He's asking all the questions. Do we travel around? Well, we are doing at the moment. We're going to 23 different places with Twelfth Night and Three Sisters on this stage, which we put up wherever we go. With our lights, these 4 lighting towers that we've got here, we just put them round, and any seating that's available, we just shove it down and get on with it. But normally, this company, the Royal Shakespeare Company, works at Stratford-upon-Avon, where Shakespeare was born, and in London, where Shakespeare wrote his plays 400 years ago and used to act in them. Yeah. Hum. As you're humming, feel your lips, just feel your lips tingling.
I wanted us to not just do formal entertainments of plays and anthologies. I wanted us to do the sort of work which the RSC has on occasion done in the past, which is for actors to leave the theatre and visit schools and universities and do their best to introduce to students their own individual approach to plays, and so that students who are reading plays as set texts would begin to see them more from the point of view of theatre people.
Did you know we're playing it in broad daylight this afternoon because we can't get a blackout? So we're going to really, we're going to be able to see how you're reacting. For the first time on this tour, we're going to be able to see all your faces, and we'll try not to look. But that's going to make us all very, very conscious of the fact that we're all in this big white room together, all attempting to create something together, because you are 50% of it. Carol.
The workshop finishes at 12:30. The matinee is to begin an hour later. The cast prepared in a hastily converted table tennis room. Edward Petherbridge has been a member of the National Theatre, but this is the first time he's worked for the RSC. Suzanne Burtish is also a newcomer to the Royal Shakespeare Company. Before the tour, she worked for the Glasgow Citizens Theatre and for 2 touring companies, Joint Stock and Prospect. Emily Richard, another newcomer, is well known to television viewers as the heroine of the drama series Enemy at the Door. Bridget Turner has played leading roles in many of the Russian classics. Willie, and his owner, Griffith Jones, father of the actress Gemma Jones. Alec Wallace, actor and pianist. Patrick Godfrey, who's been with the RSC for several years. Roger Rees has acted in many small-scale RSC productions, along with Bob Peck.
When I arrived here at Cambrai at 9 o'clock on Thursday morning, having travelled through the dawn in a car which broke down 1.25 miles away from here, and having breakfasted on blackberries, I was horrified to discover that we were in a sports hall with an echo that would rival the Grand Canyon and a glass roof that it was impossible to black out. And knowing we had a matinee of Twelfth Night the following day, I suddenly realized I would have to tell the actors what I ought to have realized in advance. I was going to have to explain to them that they were going to have to do Twelfth Night in truly Elizabethan Shakespeare theatre conditions of an afternoon performance in full sunlight.
Kids were here this morning who said they hadn't got tickets. And whether they just want to skive off school or not, but they're in. So there will be well over 600.
Oh my
Fighting
God.
our way out.
Where are the extra people sitting? Where are they going to be?
They're standing.
And of course there are also 300 people in who weren't there this morning.
May I have your attention, please? The performance will start in 1 minute. You have 1 minute. Thank you.
Yeah, sweetheart, and you?
It's absolutely extraordinary.
I can remember. Days out.
Open air?
Actually, it's Redruth Park. You've never done it.
As Shakespeare intended.
The Archer Romano.
Yes.
That's the verbiage Mr. Campbell.
Yes, killed. Will the lights come up? No.
They have the lights on, and as it gets dark.
When any small company gets together and wants to work on a repertoire basis and wants to offer really good parts and a high degree of involvement to everybody concerned. I mean, the two shining examples in the world's dramatic literature where that is the case is Twelfth Night on the one hand and Three Sisters on the other, because they do have very good parts right the way through. So I was very pleased that Ian chose those two plays.
This tour was set up with two clear aims. They hoped to continue the RSC's small-scale theatre work, productions like Trevor Nunn's highly acclaimed Macbeth. These were pared down with a small cast and no scenery and played in an intimate style before small audiences of about 200 people. The second aim was to take the RSC to sports halls and schools to attract a new audience. This aim was especially dear to McKellen.
I think this is, looking back, a rather sentimental notion. We would set up our simple stage with its lighting towers anywhere where there was a potential audience, any village hall. Anywhere we could go, we would be the strolling players, the vagabonds, the sort of actors who, during the plague months in Shakespeare's own lifetime, travelled to Stratford and visited Stratford-upon-Avon, and those must have been the first actors Shakespeare saw, and that must have been why he fell in love with the theatre and ended up writing plays. And I rather saw myself travelling that same sort of path. I'd heard stories of Sybil Thorndike going to the miners in South Wales, and stories of villages unable to go to sleep after the excitement of seeing a cut-down version of Macbeth with no scenery, and Dame Sybil after the performance saying, "Thank you very much indeed. We've given you Macbeth. Now you can do something for us. Please sing to us." And the village would be up all night singing. And I thought this sort of thing might just be possible to repeat.
I have your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the bar is open. The bar is open. Top floor of the building.
There's a woman on the front row beside herself about it.
So, is it in fact so difficult?
It's extraordinary in that you can see the audience. I hadn't thought about that. Ted mentioned that at the workshop this morning. You can actually see them. So you can see if nobody's looking, or if they're looking at the wrong thing. And it's very, in our first scene, when, I mean, acting is all about directing the audience's attention to what you want them to look at and throwing the attention away from you. But here, you can see whether what you're doing is working because you can actually see where their eyes are. But there are about people who are clearly in love on the back row, and there's one person between them, and they are trying to attract each other's attention. But I think they're the only people out of 640 who are not absorbed. It's amazing, really.
Not all actors share McKellen's missionary zeal. Touring's often arduous and frequently badly paid. On this tour, each actor receives the same pay as he would at the Aldwych in London or at Stratford, and gets £12 a night in allowances. Without these, many of them wouldn't have come. Was it the venture or the plays that had attracted them?
But I wanted to work with Trevor Nunn, because I'm not in the RSC until this tour.
None of us?
And,
none of us?
No, none of us, in fact, none of this group. We all came to do the tour, and I came to work with Trevor and to do the Three Sisters.
For me, it was the venture. The plays, I had done them before, and what gave it its real interest to me was taking them round to lots of different places and getting that experience. So for me, it was the plays. The other's been a bonus.
Yes.
The fact that, you know, we've worked with Trevor and it's turned out very well, that's a bonus.
Yes, well, I didn't find the idea of a tour very exciting, because I've done that before, and I've toured around here before, a long time ago, with the Hampstead Theatre Club. And, but this is different because of the staging. I do find that exciting, working on this stage, and having the audience in that sort of relationship.
It's so rare that we see anything like that down here. People just can't afford to come down here all the time.
It's a terrific opportunity to be able to hear people of that calibre down in Cornwall, because the other sorts of theatres you get over here are really the same.
Does it matter sort of seeing it in a sports hall, do you think, rather than a theatre?
I don't think so. It's just such an
I think it added to it,
opportunity.
really. I think it added to it because their acting was so good, you know, that it didn't matter. You weren't looking at the scenery, just
And
at
like
the
they
acting.
said this morning, it was sort of more authentic, because like in the ordinary Shakespeare plays, they always used to do it sort of in the open air and out in a place like that, so it doesn't really make any difference, does it? It's amazing how they got the stamina to go on and do something else tonight.
With the matinee over, the stage has to be partially rebuilt for Chekhov's Three Sisters. Props need to be changed too. After 2 months on tour, the company's clearly beginning to feel the effects of being constantly on the move. One of the real problems throughout the tour has been with the seating. It's important to the intimate style of the productions for the audience to be limited, but in most of the venues, which are nearly all run by amateurs, the pressure to cram in as many as possible proved overwhelming.
11? Why not just count the spars?
No.
13? 14? Just double it.
Twelfth Night played to 600. The Three Sisters isn't quite as popular, so the seats can be reduced to 400. The leisure centre staff, they're the ones in the green tracksuits, give McKellen a hand. It's not surprising anymore to see Shakespeare done without scenery on small stages, but at first it seemed an odd choice for the RSC to take a great naturalistic play like the Three Sisters on tour. Chekhov's play calls for a drawing room with a row of columns and a ballroom behind it, a boudoir and a garden. There was a danger that without these, the play and its characters would not be believable. Nunn hoped to apply the company's Shakespeare experience to Chekhov.
We believe that the actor, the character, the relationships between the characters and the language are fundamental, all important. We believe that the designer and director's job is to make an empty space, a significant empty space, I mean one that has got a helpful texture or resonance, but that we must promote a collaboration between the actor's skill and the audience's imagination to transform that space from one location to the next, here, there, and everywhere.
So Nunn, together with John Napier, the designer, chose a backcloth with icon-like figures.
I found my own personal solution to the problem one day when looking through a book of 19th and early 20th century photographs of the Moscow Art Theatre's productions that I had not seen before. They were photographs that had clearly been taken in a photographer's studio. So there was the almost traditional unbroken white floor and white backdrop. And to get the photograph to work, the photographer had got one piece of furniture from the original production. The impact was extraordinary. I mean, I'd never seen those well-known characters from the famous Chekhov plays with such an absolute clarity. I mean, they were totally foreground figures, and one was not aware that there was nothing behind them.
The Three Sisters was Nunn's first attempt at a Chekhov play, and it became one of the finest productions in '78. This highly successful production has now been seen by people in Cornwall and Dewsbury and Oldham in Scotland, but not in London.
Hello. Hello. You got a programme? Yes, thank you. Yes.
Susan Tracy, new to the RSC, is the one actress not in both plays.
5 minutes, please.
So the 36th performance in the 18th different place gets underway. The Three Sisters is about the loves and hopes of a provincial Russian family. The Three Sisters and their brother Andrei believe that reward and fulfillment will one day come, perhaps when they move to Moscow. A group of visiting soldiers help them realize it'll never happen. But there were problems. In the first act, Chekhov calls for the action to move straight from the drawing room to a table laid for dinner. But on this stage, there simply wasn't room.
So in our production, simply, the actors carry on their chairs and sit around an imaginary table and have the meal, and when the meal is disrupted, carry the chairs off again. Lighting has been used there to enhance the effect and say, don't worry, we haven't absolutely gone crazy. We're just getting over a bit of staging problem, and I don't think, I think anyone seeing Three Sisters who'd seen this one might rather miss that moment now, because it wouldn't occur.
Well, it's not really green, you know. It's more a sort of dull colour.
Your attention, everybody.
I wish you a good husband, Irina. It's time you got married.
Irina! And I wish you a nice little husband too, Natalia Ivanovna.
Natalia Ivanovna's already thinking of a nice little husband.
I'll have a glass of vodka.
Oh, Masha.
Better the devil you know than the one you don't.
That won't get you more than 3 out of 10. This vodka's very nice. What's it made of?
Cockroaches.
Oh, how disgusting.
There's roast turkey and apple pie for dinner. Oh, thank goodness I'm at home all day today. And I'm at home this evening, too. Oh, gentlemen, come this evening.
Thank you. May I come this evening?
Oh, yes, please do.
They don't stand on ceremony here.
Nature created us for love alone.
Stop it, all of you. Haven't you had enough of that?
No.
I say, they've already started lunch.
Started lunch? Yes, they've already started lunch.
Just a moment. One. Just one more.
Bank Show, Series 2, Programme 8, production number 33210, date of recording the 31st of January 79, Part 2, Take 1.
I don't think there's been any audience who's seen us on this tour who's been sitting further away from the actors than, say, row J at Stratford, which would be a front store seat costing £7.50. And no one on this tour has had to pay more than £2.50. And here in Cambrai, they're paying £1.50 and 75p for the matinee. And many of the audience, of course, are sitting so close to the stage that they're almost on the stage. If the audience is sitting close, it means that the actors don't have to select and beam out certain messages, key messages, to keep the audience's attention. They can allow the audience to look where they like, at the actor's feet, at their hairline, at the twitch of the fingers, look at the actor who's not talking, and see in immense detail relationships and secret little looks which in a large theatre would be lost.
Really, how small Andre has become. How old and exhausted he's grown near that woman. Once he was going to be a professor. And then yesterday, he boasted that at last he's been made a member of the local council. He's a member of the local council of which Protopopov is the chairman. The whole town is talking about it, laughing. He's the only one who sees nothing and knows nothing. And just now, when everyone's run to the fire, he's just sat in his room and paid no attention. It's terrible, terrible. I can't bear it anymore.
Our notions of what is real about human nature changes. Freud has been an enormous influence on us. We now don't accept anyone on their face value. And when books like Desmond Morris's Man-Watching come out, and it's discovered that we reveal as much about our nature by what the finger is doing as by what the eyes are doing, it's very important that an audience with that awareness of truth and reality should be able to see movement of the little finger. You cannot at the back of the gallery see that. The gallery demands me getting further away and giving large gestures and opening my mouth wide to convince people 100 yards away that they're taking part in what's happening on the stage. If the audience are very closely wrapped round, I don't have to display anything. The audience can look in and guess what is happening behind the eyes.
Darling, I'm speaking to you as a sister, as a friend. If you want my advice, marry the Baron.
Oh,
but you respect him. You value him highly. Well, it's true he's not good looking, but he's so decent, so pure. Why, people don't marry for love, but to do their duty.
Oh.
Well, I think so. I would even have married an old man.
Well, I've been waiting all this time till we moved to Moscow, and I'd meet the one real love there. I've dreamed about him, loved him. It's all turned out to be rubbish. It's just rubbish.
Oh, my darling, beautiful sister.
$11. Our horse. Yeah.
What's that for a clue? Look at that.
So sad.
She goes about as if she started the fire.
You're stupid, Masha. You're the stupidest in the family. Forgive me, please.
I want to confess. My darling sisters, my heart needs it. I will confess to you and then to no one again, ever. I'll tell you right now. It's my secret, but you ought to know. I can't keep it to myself. I love. I love that man. You've only just seen him. Well then. In a word, I love Vershinin.
Oh, stop it. I'm not listening.
Someone sitting on the side of the stage in Dewsbury, I think it was, he said, that wasn't a play I saw. I was in that room. It was just as if you'd come into the room where we happened to be and started turning the room into part of Russia. Well, I go tingly with excitement when I realize that someone has had an experience like that, which you just cannot get in the normal sort of theatre. Certainly in this part of the world, you're not going to get the actors who can help transmit that sort of excitement to them.
The thing that I'm pleased about is that people have come out from the production not saying it's a revelation, I never knew what the play was about before, or you have completely changed the stress and emphasis of how the characters interrelate. I don't think we've attempted to do that, and I don't think we've succeeded in doing it. The nice thing is that people come out crying. And therefore, quite clearly they have made that complete and total suspension of their disbelief. They really have given themselves to the characters and have not required any other structure.
I haven't felt so for years.
Next time it's a longer one. A week, because we had to refuse so many.
I really want your help.
I just hope that we haven't just whetted people's appetites and what we're doing isn't capitalised on or followed up in any way. Whether it's us individually who do it or other people.
Yeah, I could see that people would perhaps accuse us of waving a little culture in front of people's eyes and running away, being only 3 nights in one place. The performances perhaps are sold out to arts groups, and so they would naturally be the first people to know about us coming. But then, when the other people hear, and then they can't get seats because the art groups have brought the seats, then perhaps we should be there longer. I think that's something we've learned.
It's at the end of a perfect day.
Really? Yeah. It's almost a bit sad, really, isn't it?
It is. You want to cry? Never mind.
Yeah.
Take up your stairs.
After Carnbray, there's 3 nights at a college of further education in Plymouth, then a trip through the Devon countryside early on Thursday morning to Torrington. "9 a.m. and the unloading begins. For the small backstage crew, the tour can be very demanding. They only finish loading the van the night before at 2 a.m. After half an hour, the company manager, Jean Moore, has had a chance to see what problems Torrington is going to come up with.
So, is it going to be quite easy moving in here?
Well, it shouldn't be too bad, but we've got a couple of major problems, well, not major problems, which is the lack of storage and the dressing room areas, which are very, very tiny. Only really enough to accommodate about 8 people, and we've got 15 actors. We have to use this area here eventually, later today, when we've cleared it out and put some tables and carpet in. That's one of them. The other one, we have a slight sightline problem with some of the seats. They have 2 small galleries here, which will cause a little difficulty with our masking, so the audience can't see behind the masking. People making entrances and exits.
The position of the stage, along the side wall of the theatre, is going to prove more of a problem later on. Meanwhile, the lights must be set up and the stage bolted together. Most of the cast will arrive in the afternoon, and for them, there'll just be time to locate the one and only Chinese restaurant, which will be open at midnight, and then they're on.
Present mirth hath present laughter.
The Plough used to be a pub, and at one time it was a drill hall. Now it doubles as a cinema.
In delay there lies no plenty. Then come kiss me, sweet and 20. Youth's a stuff will not end you.
A mellifluous voice, as I'm true knight.
A contagious breath.
Very sweet and contagious, if they... What's good, what's stretching about it, I think, is that you do find that with all these worries and the increasing tiredness, that the cool centre for some of the time is actually being in the play on stage.
That's right. Yes.
And you're acting a scene with someone else, and you know that their car's broken down or that they haven't eaten for a couple of days or something. But somehow, what's going on stage is improved by that sort of tension.
Shall we make the welkin dance, indeed? Shall we? Rouse the night owl in a catch that'll draw 3 souls out of 1 weaver. Shall we do that?
And you'll love me. Let's do it. I'm dog at a catch.
My ladies, some dogs will catch well.
It's exciting, I think, and it makes the work quite exciting. I don't know what it is, much more so than just coming into the theatre at 7 o'clock every night in the West End and turning in the same performance and wondering why you've forgotten your lines and things, because you've really not done anything that day. We've probably travelled 200 miles, haven't we, and lost our sandwiches.
The
mighty admirable Foley.
Aye, he does well enough if he be disposed. So do I, too. He does it with a better grace, but I do it more natural.
12th day of December. Hey! On now! 12th day of December. Hey! Hey! On now! 12th day of December. Hey! 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 On now! 12th day of December. Hey! 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 On now! 12th day of December. Oh! 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 On!
12th day of December.
My masters, are you mad? Or what are you? Have you no wit, manners, nor honesty, but to gabble like tinkers at this time of night? Do you make an alehouse of my lady's house that you squeak out your cosiest catches without any mitigation or remorse of voice? Is there no respect of place, persons, nor time in you?
We did keep time, sir, in our catches. Snecker.
We did a radical replotting of Twelfth Night on the wing last night, with about half an hour to muck about with some of the more complicated bits. And we all found it so stimulating. And that was only something you can do by virtue of an enormous amount of trust. And I suppose a certain amount of expertise as a group. Now.
Out of tune, sir, ye lie. Art any more than a steward? Dost thou think, because thou art virtuous, there shall be no more cakes and ale?
Yes, by St. Anne. And ginger should be hot in the mouth, too.
That's in the right. Go, sir. Rub your chain with crumbs.
I hadn't realised that just the way it had been blocked and being blocked so tightly, that I was doing a move, then I was saying a line, saying another line, then doing a move. And it had got into like a mechanical type pattern. And consequently last night, because I thought, oh yes, now we can move anywhere. And consequently you'd do a move in a different place, and the line would come out in a different way.
But you see, we've had a great problem in that we've been doing a three-sided production in proscenium arch theatres, in places where they only come a little way round the side, in places where they're right round the side and behind. And I think the production in Trevor's eyes was always, well, let's say, it was thought that most of them would be kind of about there. But they never were quite. Sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't. Last night we were really forced into making it an uncompromisingly thrust performance, and we learned an awful lot from doing it.
Well, I tried to do a production which could have a degree of flexibility. I mean, we knew a certain amount about the kind of auditoria that we were going to go into. There were a few shocks along the way, you know. I mean, we never quite bargained for something the scale of the Albert Hall, which on a couple of occasions we found ourselves in, with those kind of acoustic problems, and you know, forget intimacy, forget anything that we rehearsed. You know, I mean, those were occasions where the actors just had to survive.
Unlike Carn Bray, Torrington's an intimate theatre, but its upper galleries have fixed seating. This shot shows the extreme view of the stage that someone in the audience will have. It's a position the actors were aware of for Twelfth Night, but their first chance to rehearse on it came late on Friday afternoon before Three Sisters.
Sometime you just go and sit on the end and see what a good view it is, but how welcome any face that turns actually in that direction is.
The Three Sisters, with a lot of fixed furniture, is much more difficult to adapt to an audience going right round the stage. But these intimate productions make unconventional staging much easier.
To have your back to a section of the audience for a long stretch is not wrong, is not bad. And to try and get into a position on this stage where everybody in the audience has the same view of your face, well, you're trying the impossible. So don't try and do it. And when two people are on the stage, I think our job this morning is to make sure that everybody in the audience can see one face very well. And here we have a wider sightline gap than we've ever had, anyway. And the same the other side. And we've got this here.
The sightlines are the gaps in the audience. They don't only determine where actors stand, but where they make their entrances and exits.
Griff, what do you think about this? If you go off in Act 4 down to the what now? And you were to go through the exit door, you'd then go through the foyer, you'd turn sharp right in the main street and into the next door, which is the Globe, which is a pub still functioning as such. Or you could go down these steps, which you've never done before, through that exit door, down the passage into that back street, and then into the...
This might be better.
Yeah.
Saturday night, a tour. The company is keyed up. Trevor Nunn, who's been away for 3 weeks, is about to make one of his periodic visits.
Come, now, you know what's the purpose? It seems to me that in no town so dull and cheerless.
This film is based on an advert for coffee, interspersed with of amateur acting. Why have you got so much of making coffee?
You won't be without influence. Perhaps after you there'll be 6 like you. And her. And her.
Disgusting. I've always had a feeling that actors ought to tour. But in this case, I thought we might be touring to great, unknown cultural deserts. Well, in fact, that hasn't been the case at all. Our audiences have not been the simple folk of England and Scotland who had never seen a play before and are going to be converted overnight. I think that really was, on my part, a sentimental view, and I'm getting a bit embarrassed as I talk about it. So, in a sense, we have not accomplished either of those aims. We have not been exclusively on the very, very small scale that the work is at the other plays, nor have we exclusively reached audiences who might never have gone to a play otherwise. So, one can say we've totally failed if those starting points haven't been realized.
Wonderful.
If the company's aims were not achieved, at least they kept close to their original principles. There was a substantial West End offer for the Three Sisters, but the majority thought that to accept would be against the spirit of the tour. The RSC turned it down.
Peculiar. One would imagine that a space as small as this would be almost one of the easiest, but there were such special problems to it, weren't there?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that everybody making that amount of physical adaptation was fascinating, but what happened was a sense of constant physical adjustment.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and therefore thoughts a little bit on the wrong things, you know?
And do it as much as you
brilliantly done. I mean, I thought you all did an amazing job on it.
Yeah. But it was very balletic, wasn't it? Very terpsichorean.
Street map of Frome. Oh, my dear. My dear, and a leaflet about the theatre. Thank you. All righty.
One clear reason for the tour's popular and artistic success has been Trevor Nunn's continuing involvement. The plays have not been ready-made products, but they've been continually developing. With 1 week to go on the tour, Nunn is still working on the production.
We're now just at the point where we should do the very thing that we talked about at the beginning. Olga should begin the play in that way, and Tusenbach should do his work speech.
Very much. All right.
Giving an extra one.
Thank
And I've got my map.
You've got your map.
So
Well,
if
I
we
do,
work
yeah.
at it for the whole of next week, we should get it right for
For
Blackford
last
Hall.
night, all right.
I would call it...
certainly agree.
En route to this point of the tour, which is very near the end now, there have been so many bonuses. We've done so much good in different ways. We've had an immense impact. Wherever we go, it's stressed by the people on the ground, people who've locally arranged the visit, that the RSC, just by coming, just by lending the prestige of those initials to their local enterprise, have made their job more easy. The last 3 months is just, for me, going to have been, have revived my faith in what a wonderful thing theatre is, because it can revive people's spirit. It's revived mine, and only because it's revived our audiences.
Room, yes. And it's a proper theatre, folks. Ian, your street map of Frome. Ted's got one, and Roger, one for you. Yeah?
The Merlin Theatre. It will be 5:15 on Monday. Thank you. And for Three Sisters, it will be 5 o'clock on Tuesday, please. And tomorrow, Carol. 5 o'clock on Tuesday. I'm just going to check with Ian. Okay.
I want to. What? Just pile.
The Royal Shakespeare Company on tour, and there'll be another small-scale tour later this year. We contacted the 23 places visited by the Royal Shakespeare Company and asked them several questions. All of them said they would welcome back the Royal Shakespeare. Most said they could have filled the seats for many more nights than the time allotted. One or two felt the staging wasn't entirely successful, but all 23 said that the RSC had shown there was an enormous audience for the theatre outside of the big cities. It had assisted them in their own local efforts. Next week, Dennis Potter's band television play, Brimstone and Treacle, which is to open as a stage play in London, and a portrait of John McLaughlin, the guitarist. Good night.